Hi, I'm Eric Shannon, Associate Dean for Student Services at St. John's University School of Law. I'm also one of the program directors for the St. John's Law Rome Summer Study Abroad program, and I'm happy to give you an informational overview about the St. John's Law Rome program in this video. In the summer of 2025, all Rising 2L students at St. John's Law will be eligible to apply to the Rome program. Applicants do need to be in good academic standing. We will accept applications from students outside of St. John's Law, but we do give priority to our students in the admissions process for the program. The program itself will run from May 24th, Saturday, May 24th, 2025, to Friday, June 20th, 2025, though participants can remain in the housing for a couple of days past that Friday. A common question is, as a student who's about to finish my 1L year, will I be able to fully participate in the journal writing competition and things like PTI and moot court tryouts? And the short answer is yes. All of those opportunities will still be available to you. The writing competition, for example, typically wraps before the Rome program begins, and PTI and moot court have lots of experience in facilitating admissions, including over a period of time when some applicants are participating in the Rome program. Classes will be taught at the St. John's University Rome campus. It's a wonderful facility. There's 24/7 security at the front. Students will be given a Rome campus-specific storm card, so they'll need that to access the facility. The classrooms are large. The facility itself is quite open. There's a large central courtyard where we have events and where students can hang out, and we often break into discussion groups and the like. The campus, as well as the accommodations, are located in the Prati neighborhood of Rome, which is centrally located, very close to a metro stop, just a couple of blocks away from the Lepanto stop. And it's a wonderful neighborhood, Prati. It's a great mixture of residential and commercial. Lots of restaurants and things going on, but also there are a lot of people who call it home, who live there full time, including a lot of Italian lawyers, actually. Where will our students stay during the Rome program? Students will stay at a hotel that's 2 short blocks, actually. It's a 2-minute walk or less from the Rome campus, called the B Place Hotel. Part of that package includes a full breakfast each morning, so one of your meals is built into the cost of housing here. And we block a book of double rooms, so all student participants will have a roommate. I would say the B Place is a very comfortable, very middle of the line European hotel. They know us really well. We know them well. This would be our 4th time engaging with them for housing for the Rome program, the 4th consecutive year. Who's teaching in the Rome program? I am. More on that in a second. We also have Professor Ann Goldweber, who's teaching Poverty Across Borders course. We have Professor Bob Ruscher, a longtime Rome program veteran, who's teaching his International Litigation and U.S. Courts course. We have Dean Rachel H. Smith, who's going to teach a section of legal research. And we have Dean Rosa Castello, who's going to teach law and literature. The academic program. So it is a total 6-credit package. All participants must take 6 credits. And part of this is because students who take 6 credits as part of a summer program are eligible for federally subsidized financial aid and loans. So all students will take professional responsibility, global context. That is the course that I teach. It's the first course of the day. So we all meet together and get to share updates and announcements first thing in the morning. For St. John's Law students, this will satisfy your 2L professional responsibility course requirement. So students at St. John's who don't participate in the Rome program are required to take the more standard professional responsibility 3-credit course at some point during their 2L year, either in the fall or the spring. Students who do the Rome program will have that requirement finished when they arrive back in the fall. From there, to round out your 6-credit package, students will be able to choose between a combination of law and literature, international litigation, poverty across borders, and legal research. And which courses any one student will take will depend on what their express preferences are at the time when they apply. For those students at St. John's Law, as I said, doing the Rome program means you will complete the 2L professional responsibility requirement by the time you actually start the fall of your 2L year. This frees up some time, some space in your schedule. You can also potentially, through participating in the Rome program, complete the legal research requirement, that's a 1 credit course required in the fall of the 2L year, and potentially your scholarly writing requirement if you take the law and literature course and opt to do so. There are no timed sit-down final exams. So all final exams are either take-home exams offered over a period of time, or they're final papers or final assignments. The classes are small. They are typically in the neighborhood of 20 or less, some significantly less. And that means, well, it means several things, but one of the things it means is they are exempt from the mandatory grading curve. Typically, students do quite well in these classes because they have lots of opportunities to engage with their peers and the instructor and to get lots of reinforcement. More about the academic program, of course. So classes will end at 1 p.m. many days earlier than that, Monday through Friday, and sometimes we won't meet on Fridays. And the idea behind that is we want students to get out and explore Rome. In fact, we'll plan excursions during the afternoons and evenings for you to be able to do that, to facilitate that. A common question students will ask is, if I do the Rome program, could I reduce to part-time in one future semester if I'm a full-time student? And the answer to that is potentially yes. So you will complete 6 credits, again, starting in the summer of 2025. If you're participating in the Rome program and you're a rising 2L student, you can complete 6 credits. And this means you can potentially, you can reduce to 1 part-time semester as opposed to taking a remainder of 4 full-time semesters when you come back. And there are some significant differences between folks who can do that and those who can't. So going part-time for 1 semester means you're taking between 8 and 11 credits as opposed to between 12 and 16 credits. It also means, because St. John's Law does tuition based on course enrollment, that you would have 1 semester of part-time tuition as opposed to, or 3 full-time semesters and 1 part-time semester for purposes of your remaining tuition versus 4 full-time semesters of full-time tuition. I'll talk more about that in a moment. Obviously, a common question is, I'm concerned about getting a 1L summer job. Everyone tells me it's important. I would include myself in everybody. It is important. You should get a 1L summer job, absolutely. And yes, you can absolutely get a great 1L summer job. We've had past participants do a wide range of things. Many do judicial internships. They tend to be, that's a very common 1L summer position in general. They tend to be a bit more flexible, particularly on the state side. We've had students go to firms. We've had students do public interest placements like NILAG after returning from Rome. And that's something you can talk about with your career counselor. So a little bit more about what the experience of Rome will be like when we're there, since we've covered the academics. As I mentioned, we plan a number of events for you. So you'll have your breakfast included as part of the hotel stay every morning. In addition to that, we'll have several dinners. We have one right at the start, one in the middle, one at the end. In addition to a cooking class that we do where we all learn how to chop and dice and make homemade pasta, among other things, and then we sit down and eat the meal together. We've typically done historic walking tours. We regularly do a court tour, a tour of a court, the rough Italian equivalent of the Supreme Court, which is actually just a few minutes straight down the road from the St. John's campus. And we'll also have guest speakers come and talk about being Italian practitioners and the differences between law in the US and in Italy. I do want to note 2025 is in the Catholic Church and the Catholic tradition a Jubilee year. So every 25 years, and the last one was in 2000. So this upcoming year, the whole year, calendar year of 2025, is a Jubilee year. And to make a lot of context and background very short, it is an encouraged year of pilgrimage in the Catholic Church, the worldwide church. And so a lot of folks will be in town throughout the year, not just in the summer. So it will be busy in Rome, but it will also be a very exciting time to be in Rome. And the city's been preparing. They began preparing when we were there last summer, and I think it'll be an exciting time to be there when there's a lot going on. The application for the Rome program is now live on the law school website. So if you just Googled St. John's Law Rome program, it would be the first link to come up. This QR code also will take you directly to the website. We'll have lots of information on the website, including this video, these slides, and the formal application. The deadline to apply is 12 p.m. noon on Friday, February 28th, and interest is generally high. So we encourage applicants to apply early. We do give early consideration to those who apply earlier in the cycle. In terms of when it comes to filling out the Rome roster, we ask for a number of things: a brief personal statement, your resume, transcript, etc. And we do admissions on a rolling basis. And again, if you're interested in the program, I do encourage you to apply early. That will maximize your chances of being admitted to the program. So let's talk a little bit more about the nuts and bolts of the finances. So when we look at the program cost, and in that I'm looking specifically at tuition, a fee, and the cost of housing for the entirety of the Rome program. If you added all of those up, what we charge for that is $8,000, $8,200. That'll be the cost for the summer of 2025. Again, that includes tuition, that includes housing for the duration in a double occupancy room, and that includes an administrative fee. And included in the housing is one meal each day, which is breakfast, which is a full breakfast. There are hot and cold options. And so thinking a bit more about total costs, there'll be more than that to be there, because there are incidental costs related to those lunches and dinners that aren't included in our formal events and excursions, as well as personal items that you'll want to buy when you're there. On that, your mileage may very much vary. If you want to hit the shops and buy designer clothes, that'd be a different budget than someone who is not going to do that. But a rough estimate of how much it will typically run a participant to participate in the Rome Summer 2025 program is shown here. It would be in the neighborhood of about $11,000 to $12,000 or $13,000 total, which obviously is no insignificant amount of money, of course. Scholarships for those at St. John's Law do not apply to the Rome program. But because students are taking a 6-credit package, financing and financial aid is available for the summer term, including for the Rome program. So we communicate with the Student Financial Services Office to let them know, which students are enrolled in the program, so that they can pursue financing options to be able to participate in the Rome program, even if they don't have that kind of money just simply lying around, so to speak. As I would, imagine most folks don't. And then there is also the consideration of, for those starting in the summer of 2025, the ability to reduce in one future semester to a part-time schedule as opposed to a full-time schedule, which at St. John's Law means being assessed the part-time tuition rate as opposed to the full-time tuition rate. So just for comparison, last year on the Queens campus, if you were a Rising 2L and you took 6 credits of courses, and we're talking just the tuition, not housing, nothing like that, you would have been billed, unless you were on a full scholarship, at the per credit tuition rate. And that would have been a total for 6 credits of just a little bit over $15,000. Last year, the total cost of the Rome program between the tuition item and the cost of housing was just a little bit under $7,000. So there's a significant disparity here. Why is that? It's because, to be totally honest, this is not a hugely profit-making venture for St. John's Law. We operate this program at very close to cost, and we do that because we want to make it as broadly available to folks as we can. To pick up on a thread I mentioned earlier, if you participate in the Rome program and then in a future semester use those 6 credits to reduce to a part-time schedule, and by that I mean being enrolled between 8 and 11 credits as opposed to being enrolled between 12 and 16 credits, there's a significant cost savings to that. So for just one semester to do that reduction, and it wouldn't facilitate typically being able to do it for more than one of your remaining semesters, but that difference in tuition for one semester, the reduction from full-time to part-time, is just a little over $9,000, or was based on tuition for the current academic year. So that's something worth considering as well when it comes to the total calculus of whether or not you'd like to participate in the program. So that's about it for the basics. I'll end with saying the Rome program it's a really special one. It's a really unique one, and I think probably the best way to hear about it and to learn about what it's like would be for anyone who's interested to speak with someone who's done it before, and they can tell you about their experience. If you'd like to do that, please reach out to my colleague Christina Ebanks. Her email is right there, or to me. That's my email at the bottom, and we'd be happy to connect you with a past participant who's expressed a willingness to do that. We're also going to have virtual drop-in hours in case you'd like to ask questions in real time. We'll be communicating those by email and on the Rome program public website. Thank you very much, and let us know if you have any questions. I hope you can join us for this truly unique and fun opportunity. Thanks.